Two Fritch residents are among 3 people dead in a crash just west of Hobbs. According to New Mexico State Police, a semi-truck failed to stop at the intersection of State Road 529 and the Hobbs Highway and hit a pickup truck carrying 25-year-old Dakota Lujan and 21-year-old Nigel Key from Fritch, as well as a 47-year-old man from Dublin, Texas. All 3 were pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the semi-truck was uninjured and cited for failure to yield.
So what I'm going to call on you to do is to help me out as we bring out one horse for one final time for our friends, the Lujans. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those guys were cowboys. And those guys are listening to us right now. What I'm going to ask you to do is on the count of 3, tell those men that White Deer still loves them and we're still right here with them. Can you do that for me? 1, 2, 3. This horse knows that it had the most important job of the rodeo. I want you to look at how this horse prances around. Would you do it for us one more time as we dedicate the rodeo to those 2 men as they make their final rides out of this arena tonight?
The first time I met Nigel was 5 or 6 years ago. I think we were at his dad's house actually because I was dating his brother. But then we didn't really hang out again for a couple of years because he was doing homeschool and just being Nigel, doing his own thing. But then the last couple of years we really hung out with him. He was just kind of always there, was kind of stuck with him no matter what because he wanted to do whatever his big brother wanted to do. So I was always just stuck with him. And so we were just friends. Nigel just liked to have fun. No matter where he went, he was wild and could make friends with anything or anyone. So that's what made me really want to hang out with him. One night after a rodeo, he fell asleep in the back seat and he was passed out. Dakota started slapping him in the face and he wouldn't wake up, and then he finally woke up. He's like, dude, you've been slapping me for like 20 minutes. He's like, oh, I slapped you for like 2 minutes. I don't know, it was just really funny. And then they ended up fist fighting outside the car. At first, I just heard that it was just him because, him and his brother passed away together. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. It's just still unreal to me that he's gone because he was just fun-loving. He loved life. He loved everybody that he met. So it's just crazy and still unreal that he is actually gone. Because I didn't see him probably for the last 6 months of his life because he was out of town working all the time. So it's kind of just like he's still just out of town working.
Pretty shocking.
Yeah, very shocking.
He grew up out in the country. He always had a lot of animals. He rode his bike a lot because we had dirt roads. He was pretty free. He had a friend that lived close to us and they would roam around and hike. There's a canyon and he was pretty free.
Pretty active.
Yeah. Did a lot of hunting, killed a lot of deer. We got a picture of 2 coyotes. One time he took a shot at a coyote and didn't realize that there was another one behind it. And so the bullet went through. He was 2 with 1 bullet. So he had a lot of cool stories like that. He was really mechanical. I remember when he was learning how to ride a bicycle, he was probably 2, maybe 3, and it was the one with the little training wheels. He hated the training wheels being on there because he had 2 older brothers and they didn't have training wheels. And so I remember him going and finding his tools and working it hard, trying to get those training wheels off. And he finally came home from work and helped him, and then he was good to go after that, got the training wheels off.
He loved hunting. He shot his first deer, when he was 6 years old, and probably shot one ever since. But mechanically, he was pretty impressive, how his brain worked, as far as mechanical. I'd come home, just like you said, it's something would be torn apart, something that belonged to me. It'd be torn apart, and I would have to have him put it back together. Yeah, he was mechanically inclined for sure.
He showed goats and he showed pigs in 4-H. He got showmanship for showing his goats.
Mm-hmm.
He did really well at that. He was pretty good at taking care of his animals, working them, and he liked animals. He did enjoy that.
He loved his brothers. You know, he loved, especially Dakota, you know, that was closer to his age, and he really loved playing with his brothers. Grew up with 2 sisters. His 2 brothers lived elsewhere, and when they came around, he was really, really happy that, you know, he had his brothers there and he didn't have to play with his 2 sisters. He loved his sisters too, but he really loved it when they came over. He was easygoing and he was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have a care for the future. What I mean by that is, not that he didn't care about his life, he just didn't.
He lived for the moment.
Yeah, he lived the moment. I kind of envied that because him and, you know, Dakota also were kind of identical in that sense where there were just a couple like wild horses. They may eat here, may not eat a couple days, may go to that pasture and hang out, and then next thing you know, they're 200 miles away in a different pasture, and they just, they were just free-spirited. You know, he was free-spirited. Yeah.